Hello, hello. Thank you for clicking on our thumbnail today. We are back for the book of the month. And this month, we are discussing. we are discussing. Oh, God. We are discussing a love song for Ricky Wilde, written by Tia Williams. Now, this was actually my pick. But before we get into all that, let's pull up a little bit of the overview here. So, Love Song for Ricky Wilde is about a daughter of a powerful Atlanta dynasty. Ricky Wilde is the opposite of her famous socialite sisters. In her bones, Ricky knows that somewhere a different and more exciting life awaits her. When she moves into a Harlem brownstone, she leaves behind her family, wealth, and chaotic romantic decisions to realize her dreams of opening a flower shop. One evening, Ricky encounters a handsome, deeply mysterious stranger who knows her world off who knocks her world off balance in the most unexpected ways. Set against the backdrop of modern Harlem and Renaissance glamour, A Love Song for Ricky Wilde is a swoon worthy love story of two passionate artists drawn to music, romance, and the opportunities of New York, and whose lives are uniquely and irreversibly linked. Now, again, I picked this for the book of the month because of the author, Tia Williams. She wrote one of my favorite books that I've read recently, called 7 Days in June. That was strictly like a romance, and it actually had some, little crossover here, but it was a really good romance, right? So I was like, I could do another one of those, right? And I also wanted to, um, like E did previously, highlight Black authors and Black stories. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and get into this. But E Boogie, uh, I'll start with
We
you.
going are we hopping into rating or first thought?
Just first thoughts and spoiler
Okay.
free
Okay.
ratings.
First thoughts. Totally agree on the highlighting Black authors. I love that this story didn't feel so like the plot didn't feel so driven by trauma, although there were traumatic events in the story. It wasn't like they weren't pillars of the plot. And I feel like this type of story is I'll start with this. The style of the storytelling is very up my alley. um, it has some like historical fiction to it. It has obviously like a love story happening, um, very similar to the last my last pick, but in a way that the way that it differs from my last pick,
When no
while no
one's
one's
watching.
watching,
Mhm.
yes, while no one's watching, is that it doesn't center on racism as a plot device. Instead, it centers on kind of love and forgiveness, and kind of forging your own path. And I really love that about this story. Um, Stylistically, I love it because it has there's some similar pieces, aspects that were like while when no one's watching, that like I found myself laughing at different moments to myself. I found myself woo doing a little bit of that,
Mhm.
um, and just feeling very tied to these characters. I feel like I can relate to these characters, and I don't know. There's something about Black stories that something it just feels at home. It feels familiar for me, and I think that this story did a good job of continuing that pattern for me. Oh my goodness! Sorry about the sirens.
It's all right. We out and about, so go ahead. Nothing wrong with that. But as far as your star rating, where would you place it before we get into spoil or before I give mine and go into spoilers?
Um, you know,
Five being the best, one being the absolute worst.
yes. So I'm gonna also obviously incorporate the point system because it just I think it deserves it, and I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it like a 3.9. Like
Oh,
I wanna I'm almost at a 4, but I feel like maybe it's just the mood I was in.
okay.
But at one point, I guess right now I'm just like I'm here for like a good twist, and there was only like one real twist in the story,
Mhm,
and I
okay.
love that. But also like I don't know, maybe I'm like still reeling from some Geneva Rose, uh, some Geneva
Ah!
Rose
Let's
like
real
fallout a little bit. I'm just used to a
don't
bunch
go
of
on my
twists.
girl
So this
Geneva now.
one,
Don't go. I'll go to
that's not
blows over
fair.
Miss Geneva Rose. Okay.
No. I'm here for it. That's my point. Like I was fully expecting like a crazy twist, but
Uh-huh.
I'm almost kind of relieved that it wasn't the
Okay.
twist.
Okay.
And I want to say too, there's something about magic and Black people that I really love and feel close to. And so
Okay.
stories that have that in it, it's like it's an automatic like boost point boost for me because I just feel very connected with that, and I feel very connected with um, like the again, we're supposed to be spoiler free, but I just feel very connected to the main character, Ricki Wilde, and how she perceives magic and nature, and just how she just describes, her connection to these things. So, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a flat 4 because
Oh,
it was really a great story. And although I was expecting one more twist, the twist that I was expecting was almost so sad. So I'm actually glad it didn't end that way, and it
okay.
feels it felt good. I had a good feeling leaving this story.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Four stars for Miss E Boogie. Now for me, things that I enjoyed about the book, I really liked that our characters felt 3D, like the world felt lived in. There was definitely distinctive personalities. You could see these characters as potentially like real life people. They had their flaws, they had their positives. They had like a real lived in personality. Very 3D characters. Um, I also enjoyed the humor that was within the book. Like you said, it is very familiar. It's as far as it being Black characters, something about it is always something you can connect with because it's like a shared experience there, regardless of what state or whatever they're appearing at the time. So this one is in New York. I think she started off in Atlanta and then she branched off into New York. What I didn't like was the twist that we got. I consider this a twist because there was at no point that I think that there was going to be some mystical magical going on when I originally picked up the book. And for me, it kind of came out of left field with very little setup, in my opinion, especially given the especially given that it was framed to be this epic once in a time lifetime love worthy of sacrifice with this magical element. I didn't feel that at all with these characters. So I'll say that is a failure in my opinion of the book without any spoilers. We'll be going to our spoiler section in just a few moments. But as far as star ratings, I'm going to give this book I hate to say this, man. I hate to say this. I'm going to give it a 2.9 star. Yes. I'm giving it a 2.9. Like maybe a 3, maybe I'll be generous with a 3, but it just came out of all of that character work just like flew out the window because there was some just random stuff. It was a lot of leaps of faith that the author wanted me to believe. There was a lot of stuff that I just couldn't suspend my disbelief enough. I think that there wasn't enough groundwork done to pull me on this mythical, magical love story that was supposed to happen. I didn't feel it at all. But let's get into the spoiler section. So if you haven't read the book, here's your time to click off. Please leave us a like and join us for this next half because we get into full spoilers, full discussion. Okay. Now, this is my problem when it comes to the whole what are they called perennials, because after a certain point, when Ricki, meets Ezra, he pulls that whole, get away from me, get out of town, or BS for like 1 second, and then we're just instantly pulled into this world of perennials, which are like immortal beings that have some sort of curse put on them, but they have a whole community of perennials, and this weird, confusing love curse put onto Ezra. It was, I didn't feel that the love that we were shown, and I say love with parentheses, with quotation marks, between Ricki and Ezra was strong enough to say, "Oh yeah, this is the love of a lifetime. This is what's going to break the curse, right? This is what This is what he's been waiting for this time." I didn't feel that, and if that was the case, why would he put her in danger by only telling her to leave that one good time, and then after that, it was like, "All right, well, she bad, so I'm going to try and smash and risk her life." I don't know what you thought about it. It just didn't feel like it was a real connection. It just felt like insta love almost, but not. I just didn't feel it. I just didn't. I thought that honestly, I feel like old girl from the last book had more stronger kind of romantic, at least some groundwork for a romance than this book had. I was like, I didn't see it. I didn't like how the sisters were introduced in the beginning of the book, and it made it seem like they were going to be like a integral part of the story. There was going to be like our antagonist, but they literally disappeared for 90% of it and came back for one scene, which just kind of felt thrown in. It all kind of felt very predictable once we found out about there needed to be a sacrifice made in order to break the curse. I'm like, oh, bro, I already know they're about to go after Miss Della because she already, one foot in the grave.
There was some predictability with that for sure, with Miss Della's stage.
Yes. But yeah,
Um,
what did you think?
yeah, I will second. Okay, so my score of the book is centered on the actual story and plot that we were given, and not like these dead ends that we did run into quite a bit of. The thing with the sisters, the
Mhm.
family dynamic, I kind of wanted to delve more into that. Like, I feel like we didn't get quite enough of their familial dynamic other than Ricki is like the family screw up.
Yeah.
And yes, that sets the tone for like expectations for herself, and like something for her to kind of an uphill battle for her to go on. But and with Wild Things, her flower shop.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I do agree that the sisters definitely could have been used more, and they were kind of made another appearance that really didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, even for me, like I had hoped that that there is some divinity in all the magic of it all. There is a divinity in sisterhood, and it felt more like the focus was on Ricki's relationship with Della,
Uh-huh.
Aunt Miss Della, and not even enough of her friendship
Yeah,
with
with
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I would
Yeah.
have thought Tuesday even had more involvement in the curse breaking, but yeah, it didn't flesh out. So in that way, yes, the story definitely did fail. I will say that there is something to be said about just unadulterated passion between two people.
Okay.
And for me, this is the twist that I thought was going to be coming. When Ezra describes how perennials are often confused with vampires or referred to as vampires, and that they don't like that. And then Della, when Ricki reveals the truth to Della, and Della is like, "Why are we trusting this man? Men lie,
Uh-huh.
especially on their exes, their baby mamas, their ex-wives. Like, why are we automatically trusting him?" Like the plot twist I thought was coming. And let me give one more thing that led me to this. As we're nearing February 29th, and uh, Ricki is looking haggard.
Uh-huh.
right? Like she got bags under her eyes. You can tell that she is going through it, and Ezra's going through it too. But the way that the author describes it, like she's really looking drained,
Uh-huh.
and all she's doing is screwing all the time. It just is making me think, oh, he is a vampire. He's an energy vampire, and maybe that's why he was able to curse himself, like that lady said,
Uh-huh.
live forever, because he makes these women fall for him, and he falls for them too. But then he like sucks the life out of them. They're green.
Ah.
They're like, you know, joie de vivre, I guess.
Yeah, their time,
And
their resource.
exactly. So that is what I thought was coming, especially after they see the energy healer, and the energy healer is like, "Are you sure you didn't curse yourself?" And just
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. Meanwhile, the flashbacks with him
Police.
back in the 20s.
Yeah.
It wasn't even really that many flashbacks with him and Felice. The
Yeah.
only flashback we get is not even a real flashback. It's one that he's telling, like in the story of explaining what is going on with him and why he's cursed. And
Mm-hmm.
that also made me think, credibility. I don't know that you have that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on there? I'm not sure. We're getting this retelling from you.
Mm-hmm.
Second account. I mean, you were there, but at the same time, it's like,
Can we believe
it,
you, right?
exactly. There's just a lot of build up that maybe he's a liar and he's like a male succubus.
That would have been a much more interesting twist and better ending in my opinion because yeah, even all of those flashbacks, for one, they prematurely kind of gave it away. I'm like, okay, what are we doing here in the 1920s? Oh, it must be this guy. It's like I wish that we could have removed majority of those flashbacks and actually had some more interaction between Ricki and her family or Ricki and her friends or something that made us more connected to Ricki and laid the actual foundation. Yeah, but with all of these flashbacks to the Renaissance eras, yes, it was, nostalgic and interesting to learn about, but it didn't really, I feel like it kind of took away from the twist because it was already like, okay, clearly this is him. This is the breeze is Ezra, Ezra is breeze. That's just what it is. And also, yeah, I didn't find Ezra to be this likable, I'm just a nice guy kind of character because of the way he did Felice. Like, come on, it's the 1920s. You wasting this woman time. You're not about to marry her. Like, what are you doing? Right? You're just a time waster. He's an F boy. And now suddenly, after all of these years, you're ready to settle down because you're cursed.
Yeah, I also would have loved more Felice and like more build up to her being like her feeling like she's justified in like not only cursing Ezra, but like I don't know, casting a little
Oh,
on that lady. Oh
uh-huh.
my, casting a spell on the other lady whose job or I guess whose gig she got. I don't know. There wasn't enough of Felice. Like
No. And the twist
we
of
got
Della,
Bella.
yeah,
We got a lot of Bella, but
yeah, the
not.
twist of Della being her child Felice's daughter Adelaide. Yeah, interesting. I guess that it's a little convenient, but it is what it is. I like Della as a character.
I loved Della. I
Yeah,
could have heard way more about Della.
yeah.
Um, I could have heard more about her beloved Dr. Bennett.
Hmm.
I was really into that whole thing, her whole thing, her describing her love for him, her describing how they met.
Hmm.
I could have gotten more of her. We got a lot of her, but I still feel like I could have gotten more of her. But
Yeah,
with
I feel like
that,
she could
like
be her own story.
yeah, it just would ultimately the book would have had to been way longer to be like up
Not
where
even if we cut out them
it could have
Renaissance
been.
scenes, if we cut out them damn breeze scenes, we could have made something pop.
I love those scenes.
He added
The way
nothing.
but the way that the author described them really set the stage of Renaissance era New York, which is like it's just such a beautiful and amazing time. You're running into like these historical greats, and it's just like I love that.
That could have been a
I
whole
really loved
different
it.
book.
I really love yes, and I really love the juxtaposition of that against like modern day New York and like the New York that Ricki is coming to fall in love with. Like I thought that was really cool, but But yeah, I don't know. It just would have had to been a longer book, honestly, for me personally. But
Well,
I still felt like they made good use of the main characters, except um, um,
Tuesday.
except Tuesday. I feel like Tuesday could have got more. Like she hooked up with somebody at the end that she had met at the wedding,
Uh-huh.
but I don't even remember anything about her with whoever she was with at the wedding. Like I don't.
Yeah.
That didn't register to me at all.
Yeah. I can't remember either now that you now that you bring it up. But I do have a couple questions. One of which, do you feel like the love between Ezra and Ricki was worth sacrificing Ricky's life? Did you feel like there was a strong enough connection, or do you feel like that romance was a once in a lifetime love worthy of sacrifice of a life?
I mean, knowing how it ends up, I'm gonna say yes, but in that moment, probably not. And then also, like I said, like it was purely passion and just being drawn to each other. Um, that I think made their connection persevere to get to the point that it ended up going to. I mean, ultimately, if they really did never try to run into each other again, at least for the rest of that month, they probably could have had way more time together before they had to like break the curse. But then the curse when it got broken, and Ms. Dove would have passed away, and there just would have been anyone that could have done what they did to save them. So
And
it's hard to say. Honestly, the timing of their love affair versus 29 days, like I didn't really get how long any of this took. It seemed like it took much longer than 29 days, but
yeah. And then also I have a question about, does Ezra fall in love with a different woman every leap year? Is that what they were implying? He had a therapist or a life coach, and she said something about the last woman or the last leap year. So is this something that he regularly does? And it just so happens with Ricki, there was a sacrifice made from Della that she survived?
that's a really good point. I did wonder about that, and I kind of like tucked it in the back of my mind. But I feel like because she had mentioned losing the last woman.
Yeah.
Now I feel strongly that what the author meant was that was Felice, but he didn't love her,
Yeah.
and he was just carrying the trauma of her death on his hands and her literally dying in front of him. Like she, like he said, like he described her. He said that being with her was akin to how his cousin Sonny was on heroin, like just as a escape from his grief of losing his family
Mm-hmm.
and just from his grief of being a black man from that time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like not only losing that, but then on top of that, seeing someone die in front of you, someone you've been
Mm-hmm.
with intimately,
Yeah.
is like that can take a toll. On top of you knowing that you're the reason that they decided to take their lives, like I fully understand that. If
Okay.
that being grief, that being like her being that person that the therapist was describing, but also it's like you're right. Does he do this every leap year? Like what? And I kind of want to know, how did he first test uh, the curse and
Yeah.
know that if he stabbed himself in the heart, that he wasn't gonna die? Like,
It's
how
all
did
very
he?
weird.
What?
And he was
Yeah, I kind of
definitely
want to know
sleeping with
what.
women. He mentioned how he would, sleep around with women and, marry. Nobody was off limits. Married woman, anybody could get it, right?
Yes, that's another reason why I was like, oh, he's a succubus. Like, has he? You know what I mean? Like, he has had other love affairs. He got into Gramercy Park
Uh-huh.
because he used to mess with like a married like upper. I don't know where Gramercy Park is. Sorry, New Yorkers, but he's like messing with like some upper East Side. I don't know. Once again, I don't know, but like some upper East Sider lady who had access to the park, and that's how you know how to get into the
Uh-huh.
park. And I'm just like, is she dead now? Like, I need to
Right.
know
That
what's
was
the
my question. I
tea?
was
Like,
like, hold on.
when
What's really going on,
exactly,
Ezra? And my
and
last
what
question is,
happened to her?
My last question is, why did Ezra keep that photo of Felice? Like, he made mention how she had a very scandalous photo of the 1920s, that he went through the effort of tracking down every copy, even down to the, original photographer, and taking that copy and burning it in order to like save her honor. Yet he kept one copy for himself to pass down to Della. Like, what?
Nah, he said that that was the only copy. I do remember him saying that. He
Yeah,
did say
because
that
he
was the
got
only
rid of all the
copy.
other ones, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, why did he hold on to? I mean, haven't you ladies, comment below. Have you had any exes that you've seen that they kept like nudie photos of their exes? Comment below. Is that something that you would accept? I don't know. Like if I were Ricki in that moment and I saw him pop that up out his wallet, I'd be like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Has that been in your wallet the entire time we've been together? I'm very.
exactly. Since
I
the
know it's only been 2.5 weeks,
1920s.
but you're my husband. Like, what's going on? Why do you have that?
And then to discuss it and bring it up in front of her daughter, like, sir, have some class. If this is like some nudie photos, you're like, oh yeah, your mom. She had her, her knit bits and her biddies out in this photo, and here you go.
Yeah, that was a little wild of him, and he's the one that's like so demure and like ugh, about like
Yeah,
cussing and just decorum in general. And like, low key, Miss Della is too. So I'm just that's a little surprising that they went
yeah,
down that way. And yeah, I'm just gonna say random plot device that made no sense.
yeah. I don't know. Like I said, Ezra, he's not doing it for me. I don't feel the romance. I don't feel the connection. But as far as the actual the talent in the writing is there. Like the author, she definitely knows how to craft some characters. I'll give her that. But for me, this one is nowhere near as good as 7 Days in June. That story was spectacular. This one was less so for me, as we saw from our star rating. But yeah, that was the book. Um, you have any final thoughts, E?
I do. The sensual scenes, the intimacy scenes.
Uh huh.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I listened to the bulk of the book this morning and like throughout the day today, and all of those scenes, I was like, woo, woo.
Uh,
As I'm
okay.
like making breakfast, I was just like, this is the like as far as smut goes, like I wouldn't call this smut, but as far as smut goes, like the way that these were written, this is the style of smut that I like. Like
Okay.
it's
Nice.
very demure, but it's also a little like, oh,
Uh-huh.
you know what I mean? Like it's also like, oh, she did this. Also, just doing a piano. That's the first time I've ever seen doing a piano.
Ah!
I've never not seen, but I've never experienced that in a story,
Uh-huh.
film, television. Of all the inanimate objects that people have done, a
Uh-huh.
piano. This is the first time a piano has been
Yeah.
the object. So
Yeah, very
kudos to
different.
the author on that. Very creative.
Very, very much so. But that was the book, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be doing another book next month. E, you want to let us know which one? Have you decided yet for sure or no?
I know which one for sure, but I forget the title. I'm very embarrassed about
Is it
that.
the one that we discussed?
Yes,
I believe it's called The Mother of Black Hollywood.
Mother of Black Hollywood
All right.
by Jennifer Louis.
All right. All right. So join us for that book for next month. That will be our book of the month. And subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye. Bye.